Hey guys, this is Ashton with Ashton Automotive and Performance here in Killeen. I got a tech tip that I'm doing for you guys today. It's kind of more in-depth and more advanced electrical diagnostics. We got this, it's a 2008 Jeep Commander, fully loaded Hemi. It's got a CAN bus issue. As you can see, it's got like I said, nothing in the car on the CAN bus B circuit is working. This car has been torn apart by a couple other people. Tried to diagnose. So far, nobody's been able to figure it out. In their modules, you have CAN bus B performance code, as well as a CAN bus B short to ground code, and of course all your loss of comms with all your various modules. So kind of give you a background check on what I've done already on this. Someone's already torn apart the interior, like I said, trying to figure this out. So kind of did half the work here, I guess. Wouldn't have gone that far in depth yet, but we did our basic checks on the CAN bus. I did verify that the CAN bus B going off of the front control module on this car, it is both circuits, your positive and your negative CAN, are both shorted to ground. What you want to do, again, you can go and start unplugging modules one by one, because more than likely, as I usually on, especially it usually ends up being internal to a module more times than not. So you can go around unplugging one module at a time. However, there's an easier way to do this, to kind of give yourself, you want to try to find a breakpoint in the harness where you can eliminate, a certain section of the harness and a certain amount of the modules on the system. Like I said, this in particular vehicle has there's about 14 or 15 modules on this CAN bus B. So we're going to do this. So on this vehicle, there's a junction connector here that comes off underneath the dash panel on your left tip panel. It has this goes to feed everything from the dash back. Everything on the dash, the cluster, the radio, everything else is on a separated circuit from this. So what you want to do is try to find junction connectors to help separate and isolate a certain set of modules. So we're going to unplug this. And as you can see, we now have our cluster back, our radio back, HVAC, all that stuff is all back to working. However, all of the stuff rearward is not. So now we know, from the dash forward, and it is good. There's no problems there. So now we got to find where this harness is actually routed. From this one, it goes underneath the carpet and goes around the back, up over the back, in through the headliner, into all the doors, on both sides of the rear quarters, and then there's actually a section that goes outside the vehicle as well. So we've got a lot of tracing to do, and I will keep you updated when I figure it out. Hey guys, just giving you an update on this Jeep Commander with the CAN B bus shorted. So I was able to figure out where it was actually shorted. We eliminated some spots. I told you, find the connector to isolate certain modules, certain sections of the vehicle if you can. This vehicle, like I said, unfortunately, we just got that one main connector, and then you have one more connector that I isolated back here that goes in behind the back pillar here, where it goes up to the headliner, and I was able to unplug that, and my modules up in the front there for the automatic high beam, the sunroof module, and the rain sense module. Let's say I no longer had a short to ground, so I knew it wasn't in the headliner harness anymore at that point. So after literally tracing this whole left side of the harness, deemed that at this point it wasn't in any of this part. and nothing looked shorted, burnt, nothing like that. All the seat harnesses and stuff looked good. Pulled up the carpet over there. I had both front seats out at one point. So the last part, we were trying to figure out, and they don't have very good diagrams of this, actually none at all on all data, but of the actual layout of the vehicle's entire chassis harness. So it made it a little more difficult, but was able to, I was able to isolate. It had to have been somewhere between here and that side on the passenger side where the harness crossed over. And I'll take over here onto the passenger side and show you what I found. So I got this underneath the carpet here. You got the floorboard was basically a frying pan, and cooked the harness in a couple spots here, right here and over here as well, where it comes in on these clips right here. Melted all the clips, melted all the retainers. So you don't really want to stop there, because if you just make that repair and send it on its way, like I said, it's likely it's going to happen again. So we were able to get underneath the vehicle. We found, because this vehicle's got some rust on it, the muffler had rotted away. It's got this giant muffler underneath there. It had rotted away right underneath that spot. So that floor plan was just turning into a frying pan on a long trip, which is when this vehicle started acting up for this customer. They were on a long trip, about midway through, or 3/4 way through. Like I said, everything fritzed out, and like I said, that's what happened. So, like I said, on these CAN bus problems, or really, I mean, this can apply to any short. Like I said, you want to try to isolate, but especially a CAN bus problems, they can be the most difficult sometimes. Especially, like I said, you got some of these vehicles that got 30 and 40 or more modules in them, all on the same bus. So you want to try to isolate it as quickly as you can. Like I said, look up your connector views and stuff like that in your informations, and try to see if there's a part where you can isolate certain sections of the vehicle. It makes it a little quicker. Like I said, it definitely helped save some time on this one, even though I had to rip apart basically this entire interior. Just made the customer well aware that here's what we got to do. This is not a common occurrence. Usually these are for the most part fairly easy to find, because I could get to every single module without even taking apart any of the interior. So it just made it that much harder on this one, because it was an actual short in the harness, not just a module taking the bus down. Like I said, if it was a module, we would have been done and solved this in less than an hour. But other than that, if you have any other suggestions for tech tips, just let me know in the comments. This was definitely a challenging one and a fun one. So, but I was able to solve it when several other people weren't. So it makes my day. Take it easy.